time.
Right.
And
The only thing of that is you're not gonna. Yeah, I can hear it already.
we're live. In theory, yep, we're live. So, welcome everyone. Instead, anyone is
Hello.
joining already. And yeah, New Apple Times here, and we have ImptyNet and TechRender. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure, let Internet go first.
Sure.
I can hear myself on the microphone now.
Yeah, that's anything.
Yeah, it's like I get working at the moment.
What was I gonna say?
We're making it work.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I got a YouTube channel. I cover general tech stuff. And yeah, I like Apple stuff. So yeah, we're here to talk about Apple.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm allowing you to talk about today. Yeah, Bram, wanna go next?
And I'm Bram Schenk of TechRender. That's Tech and then RNDR. We have our Instagram account and our Twitter account. We're a small blog. We're starting small. And I'm just really excited. We're talking primarily about Apple on TechRender. And I'm thrilled to be able to join you here today on the podcast. I'm talking over myself in the left ear here, so I'm trying to get rid of that feedback.
Great. Yeah, very excited that you guys could join. I'm trying to do some promotion, post a tweet and stuff, just to get some people watching us. And then we'll just get started in just a few seconds. But yeah, what did you guys think of today's event?
I was personally very surprised at how they're embracing the new pill cutout with the dynamic island name that they're going with there. I thought that was kind of interesting. It doesn't sound so techy. It doesn't sound like a hardware thing. But I like how they're embracing it. I like how they're adding AirPods controls up there, battery toggles.
I know.
The new AirDrop interface is sleek. I like how controls can kind of just pop out of that bar and a hardware element, those two cameras and what used to be the TrueDepth sensor array is now integrated into one thing, and controls can pop in and out of that as you need them.
I know, yeah, that might just have sold the iPhone for me, to be honest. That was just so cool. But yeah, what about you, Imtiaz? What was your highlight for the event?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna sound weird, but the AirPods Pro case. I've had AirPods Pro for a few years, and I always felt like the cases were missing a few things, like the precision finding, that kind of stuff.
Do you lose your case often?
So I actually don't, but I feel like, yeah, it's one of those things that it is easy for. Even though it's not lost, it's one of those things like I can't. Sometimes you can't remember which room is in, that kind of thing. So having the precision finding, I think that's neat. And it made me feel safer taking them out and about as well, because they are expensive.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Apple Watch Series 8?
Kind of underwhelming, honestly, I think. Yeah, almost all Apple Watch, new Apple Watch launches have been, because they just had like a couple new features. But the Ultra, though, that was like the biggest announcement for an Apple Watch ever. I think even more than the original Apple Watch, because we kind of knew what was coming.
Yeah, we saw the leaks ahead of time, so the wow factor was kind of missing there from a design perspective. But feature-wise, I was extremely impressed. This seems like a watch that can take on anything from diving to rock climbing, long-distance running. And what I really liked seeing, because here in Southern California, we're seeing some blistering hot temperatures lately. I love that it could handle environments up to 130 degrees and temperatures well below zero as well. I think it was minus 3 degrees was the threshold.
Yeah, that's super nice. And yeah, the design I'm not totally sold about. Because I don't do any of that extreme stuff for that matter. I don't even do any normal sports, like chill sports, not even yoga. So yeah, that design on the day to day, I don't think it's like that appealing, honestly. But it's cool. It's cool. I like the. I don't know. I just liked it.
You know, I consider myself a casual explorer. I don't go too extreme these days, but I like the idea of a watch that's near impossible to break. And that
Yeah.
alone is worth the money to me. And the design appeals to me a lot as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to put an Instagram story, but it's just so hard to get the link. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing about the new one watch for me, the price is it's a lot.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought it would be more expensive.
It was interesting to see that everybody thought that the higher end Apple Watch, first of all, we thought it was going to be called Apple Watch Pro. And now we find out it's Apple Watch Ultra, in fact, and it's $100 cheaper than everybody expected. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, even $200 cheaper than I expected.
$200, yeah. See, I was looking.
Yeah,
at
I thought it would be like a thousand.
$900.
Because it replaces the edition. Well, we'll check it now. Actually, we can start looking at the website. But yeah, it kind of replaces
That's
the
what I love
edition.
about this live coverage is we're unpacking this all with
Yeah.
you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in and watching with us.
Yeah, we're all discovering it
Dissecting
together.
everything. One tidbit that I did find out, I think you guys might find this interesting, is on the Apple Watch Ultra, the old bands from the 45 millimeter Apple Watches still work on the Apple Watch Ultra, which is a nice touch. I was
Great.
Oh, they do.
concerned about
They do.
band compatibility.
That's something I wanted to check actually. That's really good. Okay, so we'll start with the watch
Yeah.
since we're talking about it. Watch. So yeah, that's something I wanted to check because I have so many bands already for the larger Apple Watch, and I like, nah, I'm not changing sizes. So yeah,
Yeah, what do you
$799
guys
price.
think about it? It's so we got our 49 millimeter Apple Watch. Everybody was saying it would have a 2-inch screen. Apple didn't tell us how big the screen was exactly, but has anyone ran the math on that? See how it checks out diagonally?
Let's see if it's
It
here.
looked pretty big on the wrist in some of the promo videos we saw.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. My wrist is already like stretching it with the 44. So I don't know this one.
The segment, the diving segment, where they talked about for scuba divers, you can now replace your diving computer with this smartwatch. I thought that was really profound.
Yeah. Haha, pun intended.
What did you think, Internet?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I can see myself getting. I do like to get the high-end stuff, but yeah, the features like this, they do seem more, yeah, I guess ultra.
It's
gonna be for
interesting
niche
how we
kind
have
of guys.
band collections that are dedicated to specific workouts and activities this year.
Yeah, I wonder if
They're
we
from
can.
hiking to long distance running and even swimming and diving.
Can
Yeah,
you,
I thought the swimming stuff was cool.
yeah, let's see if you can buy the
especially-
I
bands
wonder if those
separately.
bands will work on 45 millimeter Apple Watches, the regular ones, and if they'll be sold separately.
They are. Just checking. They are sold separately. And actually, I just realized that you guys can't see my screen, can you?
So I got the stream open.
No, I
guess.
cannot see your screen. I
Yeah.
can see myself. And you.
Yeah, well, if you want to open
Internet, I
this,
like the pillows in the background. You got the
Thank you.
Finder pillow and the.
I have
what's
the
his name,
Finder
Google
one as
Dragon?
well.
Yeah, it's the Google
The
dinosaur
dinosaur?
from when you
Yeah.
if you're on Chrome and you got no internet.
Spent many a day playing the Google dinosaur
Yeah.
game when the internet went
And
out.
then yeah, find a pillow, and I think if I move, you'll be able to see the command one as well. Let me see.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
nice. I like that.
Nice. Yeah, I have the Finder and the iPhone one, but they're just on my undone sheets, so we won't look at them now.
Apple Watch Ultra bands start at $129 standalone.
129. I'm seeing 100.
So, and the asterisk at the bottom again confirms compatibility with older bands from the 45 millimeter configurations. So one can assume backwards compatibility. So if you're looking to pick up one of those Apple Watch Ultra bands, they do start at $129.
They do start on 100, I think, actually, because I have it open here. Actually, if you want to open the stream as well, just so you can see my screen, because
Yeah, that's
I
right.
didn't think of that part. But yeah, so we have it here. It's 99 for the Orange Alpine, for the Alpine, the Trail, and the Ocean ones. There's 3
Oh,
colors
wow.
of each. So yeah, but what about the watch itself? Ooh,
Which
this
one
one is
costs 129? Because I just saw a screenshot of it.
I don't know. Maybe it was Canadian dollars. I don't know
Maybe
how
the
the
larger
change is
size.
on that one. There's
No, I've
just
never seen them go that route.
one size, I
Okay,
guess.
so $99. We'll change that one. The orange Alpine loop, I'm really falling in love with fast.
Yeah, I like the hook, like the way to attach it. That looks nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the yellow ocean one is nice as well. I'm a fan of yellow.
I'm seeing, I see a lot of asterisks next to this, the water and dust resistance ratings. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, it's probably the warranty doesn't cover them and stuff, like they always do. Ooh.
One thing that I think is a very welcome change is the double the amount of brightness. It goes up to 2,000 nits, and it even has a specialized night mode that uses a very low light red color for all your complications. I thought that was very useful.
Yeah, that's super cool because actually I like to do astrophotography a lot and do astronomy and go stargazing and stuff. And actually red light doesn't really affect your eyes when you're like super dark.
Yes.
Because if you are exposed to a light source, it can take up to 20 minutes to go back to like seeing everything in the darkness. So the red light doesn't affect. So that's a super nice touch. Actually.
And you think about this, double up to double the maximum brightness of last year. So 2,000 nits is the new max brightness. And in some of those shots, you could see stunning legibility underwater in some of those diving shots.
Yeah, that is true. I hadn't realized.
So what?
And then new action button. We have an all new button on the Apple Watch for the first time called the action button. Is it orange on all the models? I can't tell yet.
I think are there different colors though? Because I only saw one.
It is. It says you can use the action button to control a workout, mark a compass waypoint, or begin a dive. So it's a quick action button. But I want to stop there at the compass waypoint technology because I thought that was amazing. No more getting lost on your hikes because you can mark your place along the way with the action button and then sort of retrace your steps even if you lose cellular connectivity.
Yeah, that was super cool.
I thought that was a very powerful feature.
And actually, now that I'm checking,
I'm gonna use it to mark my parking spot.
Well, if you have CarPlay, it will automatically do that when you disconnect.
And there's a new SOS signal that can output an SOS sound at 85 decibels. The demo for that was incredible.
Yeah.
To see an Apple Watch get that loud.
It's probably too annoying to have near your ear, I guess. Because 85 decibels, I don't know anything that can compare. Any example? Do you guys know something that's roughly that volume?
I think Apple has a comparison page in the hearing app that'll actually tell you, like, I think 85 decibels is a small concert. Things like that.
But yeah, now that I'm checking, there's only one color for the titanium one.
One color for the action button.
Yeah.
I see the action button here. It says they've developed a special new color for the action button called International Orange. You can press and hold it to activate the SOS siren.
Interesting. But even for the whole case of the Apple Watch, there's just this one color. There's no more colors.
So there's not a space black version?
No. Because all I could see here, if I go back, see like everything that changes is the bands, but not the actual colors of the case.
This is an interesting tidbit, and I wanted to bring this up. First of all, we're seeing 36 hours of battery on an Apple Watch for the first time. It used to be only 18.
I know.
And what's even cooler than that is Apple's actually touting a low power mode coming later this fall that'll get you 60 hours. And it leaves the most essential features on, including activity tracking, GPS, things like that. And you can get 60 hours out of Apple Watch Ultra. But that's coming soon. That will not be available at launch.
Yeah, that's
I
like
actually think that's one of the most
3 days.
interesting features they've announced, even for the older watches.
Mm.
But I have a Series 5, and I could just about get through a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
like
love that you mentioned that, Internet, because they're actually including that with WatchOS 9. So for Series 4 and later, you can use the new low power mode that's coming later this year. I think we'll have to double check on it, but I think it's 48 hours you can squeeze out of it.
30
on the older watches.
36, yeah.
36. So it's 36 on the older watches.
I think it's all
up
to 36.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's up to 36 on the Series 8, I think, but then the older might be even less.
Okay.
Especially if your battery is.
We'll have to conduct some tests there and get back to you guys.
But yeah, I mean,
and again, we're seeing special bands this year for specific activities and workouts. There's an alpine loop, a trail loop, and an ocean band.
Yeah.
We have some interesting new mechanisms. We went from a clip and tuck mechanism to a clip and hook mechanism for the alpine loop, which I think is an interesting evolution.
True.
They said the most important thing is they're specialized bands designed for outdoor adventures and endurance training, and they prioritized them simply not falling off. I like that part.
Yeah, especially with the ocean one, I guess. So they said that, specifically like ski surfing and jet surfing and all that. So yeah, that one.
But what's great about the ocean band is it's that hook and tunnel mechanism, which we've seen. This follows traditional ocean watch vocabulary, like those Explorer watches that we see from other brands like Rolex.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this is it's made from Apple's fluoroelastomer. That's what they use for the sport bands. So it can expand and contract a little bit. It can fit around a wetsuit. It stretches a little bit. So it's a great material.
Yeah.
It's chemical resistant. So it'll hold the test of time in seawater, I'd imagine.
It should, yeah, probably. But yeah, that looks very nice. And what else? I'm not really digging the design of the Apple Watch Ultra myself. I don't know about you guys.
It appeals to me. I like it. I like how it appeals to classic watch vocabulary with the crown guard and sort of that rugged look. It just makes you feel. They almost could have called it Apple Watch Explorer.
Yeah, I was thinking extreme because they started saying that it was for extreme activities. So I thought it would be called Apple Watch Extreme or something like that. But no, it's Ultra. But yeah, I'm just glad they didn't call it Pro.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, again, with M1 Ultra, the M1 Ultra SoC, Apple's now using the Ultra moniker for some of their products now, not just chips, but actual products now, which is interesting because Samsung's utilized the Ultra naming scheme for quite a while.
That is
usually
true.
Apple likes to differentiate.
But Samsung only used Ultra on the phones, right?
I'm sorry?
Samsung only used Ultra on the phones, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll never see an iPhone Ultra. That one I can guarantee.
No.
Never know. Ultra Pro Max coming soon.
Ultra Pro Max, starting at just $2,500.
Yeah, so we have here this orange on the website of the Apple Watch Ultra. It's probably that international orange. And it kind of reminds me of the Hermes, because even the packaging of the Hermes Apple Watch is orange.
The classic Hermes orange.
Yeah, engineering, blah, blah, blah. I like that the screen is flat though.
Well, and they entirely redesigned the Compass app. So it not only offers that waypoint technology, but it has an entirely new different design that makes things like elevation and incline more legible on the screen with bolder text.
Yeah. That's cool. Oh, now that I'm seeing this glyph here, I wonder if they will update the Apple Watch app icon to reflect one of these new bands, and which one it will be.
I noticed some new. I'm glad you brought that up because I noticed some new icons during the presentation, but I couldn't pause fast enough to see
Oh,
which ones exactly had changed.
well, I think all the new apps that the Ultra has for like the depth measuring and all the others, I guess.
My understanding was the depth measuring is its own watch face or the standalone app with the diving app that they developed standalone.
Yeah.
It looks like in from the presentation, if I'm correctly, or if I understood correctly, that it can detect when you've gone underwater and automatically switch to the depth
Yeah.
mode.
That's very cool. Yeah, there's 60 hours here. That's just insane. That's like 2 days and a half. Which probably, if you don't do any extreme activities, it will be even more. Because mine easily lasts 24 hours, and it's only 80 something percent battery health.
You know, I haven't been impressed the past few years with Apple Watch battery life. I really wanted it. I wanted this year an Apple Watch with better battery life, and that feature alone was enough for me to upgrade. I'm thrilled that the Apple Watch Ultra is offering significantly longer battery life.
Now the big question: are you upgrading Apple Watch to either the Ultra or the Series 8, or the SE too?
I know we have so much to unpack here. We're spending so much time on the Apple Watch Ultra because it's one of the most stunning products they've released today. But I do want to circle back, as you mentioned, to the Apple Watch Series 8 and the Apple Watch SE. The Apple Watch SE includes some of the features we see on the Apple Watch Ultra, like crash detection and a body temperature sensor that can be used for advanced cycle tracking, which is a massive leap forward in the medical space and the health space.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, other than that, I it was fun how they compared it with the Apple Watch Series 3. Because like, if it were like something to compare with. Also, I think they stopped selling the Series 3 finally.
Finally, they stopped selling the Series 3.
Like 5 years.
Which, I mean, it felt that they were doing that as of last week, given that the operating system that's going to come out within a couple weeks is not supported on the Apple Watch Series 3.
Yeah. Also,
I like what they did with the SE though. And if you take a closer look and you start unpacking what exactly happened here, they put the latest chip in it. They put the latest S8 chip, so which is the chip from the Series 6, basically. A few optimizations aside.
Yeah.
Shorthand there, Apple Watch SE is 30% faster than the previous SE because it has the chip from the Series 6 in it, which is actually the latest chip, just with a different label on it.
Yeah, basically.
Again, some core optimizations there, but we haven't seen a sheer increase in performance for the Apple Watch for many years now, since the Series 6, since 2020's Series 6. But
even
again, if we
one.
unpack what they did here with Apple Watch SE, they decreased the price. It used to start at $179. Now it starts at, $279. Now it starts at $149. You start at $279. Now it starts at $249.
Okay.
So it's a little bit cheaper, but they changed the back material, I believe, into a polycarbonate.
Yeah, they said nylon.
Some sort of blend.
Nylon or something? I thought nylon was
nylon.
Yeah, they did say something about nylon.
I'm trying to find a better description of what they've done with the back. But the key takeaway here is they've replaced the ceramic back, which is very premium material, very durable material that we've seen on every Apple Watch up until now, including the previous generation SE with a cheaper mix of that nylon plastic polycarbonate. We'll have to get to the bottom of what exactly that material is. It's color matched, so it looks really cool.
Yeah, I like that
but
part.
It's definitely not going to be as durable as the ceramic they've used in the past, and we see a price decrease along with that. So what's great is that this Apple Watch has many of the most modern features, and they'll be able to reach more people.
Yeah, that's very good. And also, even greater is that the Series 3 is no longer sold. Finally.
Finally, right? Well, and what they brought up too I thought was very interesting. For many people, the Apple Watch SE is their first Apple Watch.
Yeah. I gave that one to my mom like 3 years ago, I think. and she's just super happy with it because she does.
Yeah, 80% of people buying a new Apple Watch bought the SE.
Yeah, no wonder, because even
That was one of the.
It's quite a big chunk.
even when it was announced, it didn't really have that many differences with Series 5. That was the one that was announced alongside it. So it wasn't really worth spending, like, what was it, 150 more euro dollars?
Well, yeah. Well, what's interesting is the original SE was the Apple Watch 5 design, which was the Apple Watch Series 4 design from 2018, so a really old design. And then they took out features. They removed things like ECG, which were very powerful, life-saving technologies. So it's interesting how they cherry-pick features and what the value proposition is. This delivers the Apple Watch experience, but it falls short on delivering some of the cutting-edge technologies that we see with Series 8 and even the Apple Watch Ultra.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. No, the series, the SE, I didn't really expect a Apple Watch SE refresh on this event, but yeah, we got it, and I think even more and more people are gonna get it, and that's good because, like as you said, it can be life saving. So the more people that have it, the even better, I guess.
And Apple Watch SE now comes in silver, starlight, and midnight. And again, that back is designed. It's 100% recycled materials, and it's color matched to the outer casing. So if you turn it over, it looks really cool now.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if we can see the back of the midnight. Probably here.
I have a picture of the starlight I'll send you right here so you can take a look at it.
No, there are not more photos. But yeah, so that's the Apple Watch SE, and then the Series 8. That's probably because I'm getting a new Apple Watch this year, and it's probably gonna be the Series 8 because I don't really exercise that much as to justify the Ultra, and I also don't really love the design. So
I think a lot of people seeing this design for the first time, the initial reaction, like, what is that contraption? Just because the original Apple Watch we're coming from is so seamless, so smooth, and to see something with that rugged design is a bit of a turnoff at first. But I've seen it quickly grow on a lot of people, I mean, within minutes. So you might change your mind. You never know.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of growing on me since I think yesterday or 2 days ago we saw this render that someone, I don't remember.
You saw the initial renders.
Now. Yeah, but they made it, and I really hope they were wrong, but no, they weren't. They look pretty much like the real thing. But yeah, it's kind of growing on me. But no, I think 49 millimeters is too much for this tiny wrist. So it's gonna be the Series 8.
It's going to look huge on the wrist. But I'm excited about that. Open up a full keyboard, have it full mount.
I think it's definitely something you need to see in person, really.
Yeah, I think so.
Before we move on to other products, I do want to add one more thing to the Apple Watch. Some people may have caught this, others maybe not. They resurrected silver again this year. They replaced silver casing color with starlight. Now starlight is available alongside silver, silverback, and also midnight and red. They did not bring back green this year.
That is true. I guess it didn't sell out very well. I don't think I've seen anyone in the street with the green Apple Watch.
I have a green Apple Watch. I love it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, this is the Starlight one, but I have a green one as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, then.
I was gonna say, usually even the other colors, I only usually see when it's on sale with some people.
There's a new product red finish this year too, much deeper red.
Yeah, it looks more red actually.
Well, let's move on. Let's talk iPhone or AirPods even. Let's talk AirPods first before we get into iPhone.
Let's go to the AirPods. As Intias said, the AirPods case was the highlight of the keynote for him. So I'm guessing he's super excited to talk AirPods.
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing I want to know is if I can buy this on its own without having to get a new set of AirPods. But
I'm guessing probably not.
Yeah, I really liked the precision tracking, even the little lanyard bit.
Yeah.
And probably an underrated part of it is the being able to use the Apple Watch charger to charge it.
Yeah, I was so surprised to see that.
Yeah, I didn't see
The
that.
Apple Watch chargers that can charge in the new AirPods Pro case. I think that's so
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many people sell these like 2-in-1 or 3-in-1.
I mean, MagSafe compatibility
chargers
was
and-
one thing when they released the updated MagSafe cases for the Pros
Yeah.
alongside AirPods 3. I loved that. But I mean, the portability of an Apple Watch charger, especially when you're traveling and that's all you have on hand.
Yeah.
Things like MagSafe Duo, you can keep your phone charging, take your watch off,
True.
and set down your AirPods.
I
which
hadn't
is
thought
a
about
huge
that.
deal.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, and I had one of these like tiny little Apple Watch chargers that just literally plugs into a USB port and just hangs out.
Yeah, that's another great
That's
point. I love that
basically
you brought that
yeah,
up because
if I get
I'm
a new
constantly
case,
doing that. I keep the Apple Watch charger in my laptop case.
Yeah.
Plug it directly into the MacBook. So that's going to be great to top off the AirPods.
Yeah,
Wireless charging on the go. Ultra portable wireless charging.
Yeah, I'm just mad that they're like blending all these Apple Watch charger and Qi chargers and MagSafe, and still the Apple Watch can't be charged by a normal Qi charger.
Oh yeah.
I know that's a
true.
bit infuriating,
That's
huh?
for sure.
But they, I guess they've experienced too many thermal issues with that.
Yeah, that the long forgotten AirPower. I was so excited about that, but yeah, never came, never happened.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess
on the new AirPods,
the only disappointing
Pro
thing about the
2,
case is
they have the H2 chip.
Yeah,
That mainly improves some of the already amazing functions, industry-leading functions of AirPods Pro, like spatial audio, like active noise cancellation. So I thought that was really interesting.
yeah, and probably even
Several billion operations per second just to cancel the noise around you. And now it can automatically detect ambient noises in the background, like construction or things like that, and turn active noise cancellation on and off for you.
that was super cool because like something that threw me off of using the transparency mode on the street is like the train noise or car noise and all that is just like too loud, so I always went with noise cancellation on the street. But yeah, sometimes like if I want to send a voice message or something, I want to hear myself, and I just hear everything. So that feature is gonna be super nice because it's like you only hear what you actually want to hear. So that's great.
They're saying that there's a new custom built amplifier in there, and they're saying that will provide lower distortion during playback, and even deeper bass, crisper highs all across the volume spectrum. So I'm really looking forward to that. These are my daily drivers. These are mainly the headphones that I wear most of the time, working out, things like that. So I'm really looking forward to AirPods too. But I'm in dissecting all of this. These are great improvements. Don't get me wrong, especially for sound. Is it lossless? No. Is it a new audio codec? No. Those are a lot of things that we were expecting.
Probably for the Maxes.
But if you already have AirPods Pro 1, first generation, is there really, what's the value proposition like? Is there really that much there to justify an upgrade? Unless you're constantly losing the things.
I guess some people that bought the AirPods Pro at launch, their batteries are just dying. And I guess if you're going to buy
That's
new
a huge
ones,
thing too, yeah.
you might as well upgrade to the
upgrade cycle.
Yeah.
Lithium-ion batteries are interesting because the smaller they get, they don't last as long.
Yeah, I noticed it with my first generation AirPods, and I didn't even have them for that long, but I could really tell that they lasted way less.
I just got a ping on here to verify Apple Watch Ultra is compatible with 42, 44, and 45 millimeter bands. So the older bands will be compatible.
Great then.
Further clarification on that.
Yeah, that's very good, especially for people like me. Yeah, with a lot of bands. Thank you, Apple.
Huge band collection.
Yeah, I have 11, I think. So yeah, it's
They're saying up to 2 times more active noise cancellation. And again, they already lead the industry for active noise cancellation with the original AirPods Pros.
Yeah.
So that's a huge deal.
You know what?
There's also an entirely new noise cancellation microphone design So they completely redesigned the rear vent that will counter noise. It's a concave shape, so they're saying that contributes to noise cancellation as well.
Yeah. You know what? I had my AirPods Pro. I bought them in April 2020, and I wasn't just too happy about the noise cancellation, especially the noise cancellation. And then just like
Really?
about February, I guess, I started noticing that it was just so annoying. Like I literally didn't wear them because the noise cancellation was so annoying when I was walking. And I took them to the Apple store, and they replaced them for new ones for free because they were in warranty. And turns out, I think they had always been broken, because like now the noise cancellation was working better than ever. And when I got the Maxis, I was like, oh, the noise cancellation here is so much better than the Pros. But now I don't think so. I think they're quite on par. So yeah, for me it's like I've had new AirPods Pro, which I actually had for like a few months now. So
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I've
So
got
your battery's
some-
doing well.
yeah, perfect. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Intias?
Yeah, I was just gonna say about the noise cancellation. I've got some pair of Bose QC35s, I think they are. And I used to think when I got the AirPods, I still would use the Bose whenever I went on a plane and that kind of thing. But now I don't bother packing them. I just pack the AirPods Pro
Yeah,
because the noise cancellation it's not quite as good as obviously big over, but it's 90% of the way there. So for the size, it's so much more convenient to just carry these around rather.
I know that used to happen with me with the Maxis. I used to wear the Maxis on planes, but now it's
Yeah.
such a hassle to take them off. Like I have them on my backpack. If you're not in the aisle
I
seat,
mean, that has to do with the fact that Apple won't release a proper carrying case too.
That's true as well.
yeah. But yeah, I guess like it won't be as small as the Pros that I actually have them here. Like it won't
Yeah.
be this small, as small as they are. So yeah, lately I've been wearing these on flights as well, and almost for everything, except for when I'm home. Other than that,
Another thing I want to bring attention to on AirPods Pro 2, they integrate something called Touch Control, which is just a very fancy name for expanded capability of the force sensor. So on the previous model and on the AirPods 3, there's this little divot in the stem, and you can press to hold that, apply pressure there, pause the music, control playback.
wait, I think we lost you for a moment.
Like a little volume
Yep.
slider coming out of your ear. I thought that was really helpful because I don't know how many times
Yeah,
I wanted
that's a
to
really good
adjust the
feature.
volume, and I love the digital crown here on AirPods Max. But there's nothing equivalent for the buds, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's something that I always wanted to have ever since the first AirPods. I was like, oh, it would be nice to just be able to do like this and raise and lower the volume. So now they actually made it.
Well,
finally,
I imagine there's some
7
algorithms
years
going
later.
on there that offset things like sweat. Because I know like palm rejection was a huge feat for Apple. I wonder if they're adopting some of that technology here. That way, sweat droplets and things don't start messing with your volume.
Probably, yeah.
That new lanyard attachment that we saw for AirPods Pro 2 is pretty interesting. Do you guys see yourself using that? Looks like it's only coming from third parties. Apple doesn't make a first party
Yeah.
lanyard.
Let's actually check. But yeah, probably not. But I guess you can attach any lanyard because it's fairly standard system. Or any lanyard with like the old
Yeah.
phones. I don't know if you remember, like Nokia's and stuff. They used to bring also.
Yeah, Sony
touch a line.
Sony phones as well back in the day. They used to have
Yeah.
little-
Let's see, accessories, I guess. But I don't really see myself using it because
Looks
I
like
just
release candidates are now available for iOS 16.
Oh, nice.
That's something else I noticed. They didn't say when they were releasing iOS 16 or WatchOS 9. They always say it, but
Yeah,
not
right
this
here.
time.
Now available. We should check on that because sometimes they quietly update the webpage with the release date.
Yeah. I'm trying to check where the lanyard might be in the website.
It is available on the 12th. iOS 16 available. So on Monday. On Monday, iOS 16 will be available for everyone around the world. That'll be the public release on Monday the 12th. So mark your calendars.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not doing any plans for that day. Just updating all of my devices.
Updating everything.
Power and cables.
So what do you guys think about the new iPhones? Starting with iPhone 14, I think the star of the show was the satellite connectivity.
Yeah, I just cannot talk about the elephant in the room. That's the dynamic island. I know we're talking about the 14, but the dynamic island.
That was my favorite. I think actually.
That was so good.
I didn't think so. I have a 13 Pro Max at the moment, and I didn't think that the just moving to a pill would be sort of like a big upgrade.
Same.
This I feel like this change. So cool. I feel like this change embraces something that would have been a setback. Nobody wants a hole punch on their screen. Nobody wants a pill on their screen, and it illustrates Apple's DNA. This is Apple taking something that no one was going to love and embracing it, elevating it to offer even more features. This is Apple at its very best. This is something that was going to be an eyesore, something that was going to be ugly, and they changed it into this thing called the dynamic island. I don't know how I feel about the naming convention there, but I'm just going to say this is innovative and it's incredible. Every other smartphone manufacturer in the world stuck a hole punch on there, stuck a pill, whatever you want to call it, and it's just this annoying little speck on there.
Yeah. The most I've seen.
With the dynamic island, Apple's bringing things like your AirPods battery life, music controls, phone calls, voice memos, AirPods, you name it. They even showed a demo with a live activity widget that actually gets sucked up into the live island for Lyft.
Yeah.
So when you're waiting for your car to pick you up in Lyft, you can see the status if you're Apple listed up in the pill section there.
Yeah, even
flights.
That's
always going to be the question with this. Is it? I mean, it was always visually probably going to look a little bit better than a notch, but would there actually be any functional benefit?
And I just realized that's why we're calling it the dynamic island, because I just said pill section. I don't think anybody wants to walk up on stage and just look at the pill section we made here. But I love the way that they're taking something that would have been a setback and just dropping in all kinds of functionality. The music controls alone. Think about how cumbersome this was before. You had to pull down from the upper right-hand corner to access Control Center, then dip into another widget to get your music controls to swipe back and forth. And that's incredibly annoying.
They even showed someone
a bunch of controls that we should be able to access all the time into Control Center. It made more taps out of something that doesn't need it. And so I love to see Apple Pay, Face ID integrated into the dynamic island. It makes all these essential iPhone features adopt this sense of vitality and feel so much more accessible throughout the system.
Yeah, and they even showed someone tapping on the island itself and expanding it, which is, I'm guessing you have to tap right in the place where there is screen. But like what you said about the music controls, you just tap it and you bring the music controls down.
I would be self-conscious. I'm always marking up my camera. I'm tapping on the front-facing camera. I'm going to be, every time I go to take a photo, I'm going to be wiping it off. Tapping on
that was one thing I thought of when they said you can interact with it and stuff.
Yeah.
Just think of how many people's selfies are going to have fingerprints and stuff.
Well, good thing autofocus is available on the front-facing camera for the first time.
Yeah, I actually didn't know until the rumors came that the front-facing camera didn't have autofocus. That was something interesting to learn.
Well, they're integrating things this year like the photonic engine, which is supposed to offer 2 to 4 times better low light performance depending on whether you're using a front or rear-facing camera.
Because that's also something great, that it works with all the cameras. Because now with the 13, I love taking photos with the normal regular camera, but then if I want to use the ultra wide or the telephoto at night, I'm just maybe not, because it's not as great of a quality. But this
Dynamic Island aside, we're talking about features that are available on both models, the 14 and the 14 Pro. But sticking with the 14, and they use the iPhone 14 segment to debut this new satellite technology, which has been rumored for quite a while. I love how they're handling this because it kind of guides you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So when you're without, quite literally, right, guiding you in the right direction, because when you're without a cellular connection, it actually communicates with the satellites and tells you which way to turn back and forth so you can establish a reliable connection and get your message through. Now, it's not for day-to-day texting. I want to make sure everybody knows that because everybody's been asking me, is this my new cell phone plan? No, it's not. It's for when you're in trouble. It's for when you're stuck and you need help. And what I love about this is Apple's streamlined this experience. So it asks you a bunch of multiple choice questions off the board. Like, what were you doing? Were you hiking? Okay, where are you? Are you in a cave? Are you in a cliff? What kind of obstacles are we going to face when we're trying to save you? Stuff like that. Instead of typing out a message and trying to explain this and losing connection halfway through, it asks you the questions ahead of time. Then you look for the established connection, and then it sends a form with all this information for you. So not only is this user-friendly, but it allows you to use this connection that you may only be able to establish for a few seconds from a satellite and send that vital information. And if people caught this at the end, I don't know if you caught this, when Cayenne was up there and she was talking about this service, this satellite communication service, she said, for people that buy the iPhone 14 and the 14 Pro, this feature will be free for 2 years.
Yeah, that's
only 2
something I heard
years.
as well.
So I'm looking forward to seeing, is this going to, I mean, one can assume that that's going to be a subscription service. How much is it going to cost?
I know.
And this will be something that's available to everybody that has the newest phone for 2 years. Okay, after that, how many people are actually going to pay for this? How affordable is it going to be? Are you only going to see people that think they might get lost? Explorers, hikers, travelers? Are these the only people that are going to be paying for this? So
maybe
because the people that are going to get lost are the people that are going to use it the most. So it'll be interesting to see who it actually helps, who it actually saves. I'm not saying it's not worth doing. I'm not one of those people. I'm just saying it'll be interesting. Do you think the people that need it are actually going to fork out the money for it after 2 years?
I'm thinking, like, crazy idea here that maybe Apple is buying itself time to kind of negotiate with carriers and say, like, after 2 years, be like, okay, so AT&T offers this plan that includes the satellite connectivity for
to include it,
iPhone.
and that's a great hypothesis because maybe they're just waiting to establish some deals. That way, you get the shock factor of it being a new feature while they work behind the scenes to confirm what. Maybe it's built into every phone by default in the future.
And
I was thinking of that.
Or after, so maybe it goes to subscription and then it's built in. I don't know.
Yeah, and also they mentioned that they have relay centers that kind of translate the chat messages into a voice call. So I think, for what I understood,
and that's the key takeaway, right? I'm sure this feature would be free indefinitely if they didn't have to set up relay centers, because these are servers that you have to host. They're server farms, right? They cost money.
Not
that's
even
why
that.
iCloud.
I understood it was people.
Costs money.
I understood it was people transcribing the messages into a call, which I was surprised to see.
It may sound like computers do that anyway, but I'm sure there's some
I don't know.
Person power there.
But yeah, I was surprised to see it wasn't like Siri or something, because you know how Google Assistant has this feature that it will call to make appointments and stuff. So that would have been a great moment to introduce a similar feature for Siri. Just like converting your SMS conversation into a call and explaining it to an emergency agent.
So I could see them bundling the pricing in with maybe like an iCloud tier. Like if you get Apple One or
included in Apple One or something like that.
Or like the 2 terabyte storage tier, something like that. And maybe you get it included for.
But that's a key takeaway that I want people to leave this show with. They're tuning in right now. Is people are going to be shouting from the rooftops, "Well, why does this cost money after 2 years?" It's because Apple has to host the servers and maintain the infrastructure necessary to offer you this feature. It's a subscription. It has to be a subscription service. There's no way around it. It's just like iCloud or Apple TV Plus or any one of those services. Except you're not gaining content. You're gaining just a service, a capability.
And something else I wonder is, if in 2 years you buy the iPhone 16, will you have another 2 years free, or will Apple stop doing that?
I think
does it renew?
It'll be like Apple TV Plus, right? Every time you buy a new device, you get an extra bit of extra bit chucked in. Maybe it'll only go to a year in a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the 48 megapixel camera is interesting because they
So
didn't.
48 megapixels. We want to keep in mind because we want to differentiate models for people.
Yeah, sorry, in the Pros.
For the 40 megapixel sensor, we're moving to the iPhone Pro, which has that new dynamic island and some of those cutting edge cameras. Interestingly enough, because you jumped right into cameras, I want to mention last year's iPhone, the telephoto lens, they moved it to 3 times. They increased it from 2 times to 3 times and kept the three lens array settings. Now it uses sensor fusion to simulate the 2 times lens. So they brought the 2 times lens from previous models back.
Yeah.
It's simulated with software, but they use sensor fusion in such a way that you have that lens back in essence. So you can jump from the 0.5 to 1 to 2 to 3 on all the Pro models, which I thought was great because a lot of people were upset when they increased the zoom to 3 times. They said 2 times is the perfect
I remember
amount.
that. Yeah, I even had some people commenting on my review of the iPhone 13 Pro Max saying exactly that. But actually, it's not software, it's actually hardware because it's cropping to the 12 megapixels. And when cropping to 12 megapixels, when you crop the camera sensor, for example, you get this extra range, just like, for example, a full frame versus an APS-C camera. So it's actually the same quality that you will get from a 2 times from the iPhone 8, I guess, or iPhone 11 Pro.
It's cropping it for you in real time, but it's using all the lenses to gather that information at once and do so. So that part of it is sensor fusion.
Well, yeah, but it's still like physical, so it's not like it does now if you use like the, I don't know, the over 3, like it.
Yeah,
it crops the image.
You would still have you would have lower quality.
Yeah, so it crops the image
slightly different. So it's not just cropping, but yes, that would be a way to explain what you see in the viewfinder and the aspect ratio for the finished product that you get after you snap the photo. And speaking of photos and the sheer power that Apple needs in these chips to do this, they've made the jump to 4 nanometer this year at 17 trillion operations per second on a 4 nanometer chip. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, that is so crazy. I didn't expect actually the 4 nanometers. That is pretty insane what we're getting.
And it's the CPU and GPU are 20 and 30% more power efficient respectively. I don't know if that translates to better battery life. They said the same great battery life in an iPhone that's always been an iPhone. They didn't say we have an hour longer, 30 minutes longer. They didn't say. They didn't specify. So I'm assuming it's the same battery life as last year, which was not bad battery life at all. Let's keep that in mind. But I think some of the battery life improvements we would have gained from the efficiency of this chip were offset or prevented by the always-on display mode that the iPhone gained this year. And we can talk a little bit about that as well, how they used the Apple Watch, starting with Series 5, which is based on an iPhone chip, that SIP, a system and package on the Apple Watch, had a specific part of the chip dedicated to a display modulation. So all the way from 1 hertz to 60 hertz. This 1 hertz to 60 hertz was an Apple Watch. This goes from 1 hertz to 120 hertz. So it's a huge step up, and it's a huge power saver. And you get to take advantage of always-on display. You get to still see your notifications and widgets and a dim version of your wallpaper even while your iPhone is not active.
Yeah, I think that's like the Apple Watch always on displays. Do you guys have it active?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because, I don't have, but...
Yeah, I have mine off, I suppose, but... yeah, I used to have... the iPhone 13 Pro Max, actually my first iPhone. I used to be an Android guy before, and I always used to have the always-on display off.
Who let him in here? Just kidding.
But yeah, the always-on display, it was never something that I was that interested in on Android either. And I can't see myself if I should upgrade.
So again, Android's had this feature for quite some time. So I want to ask you, what's your interpretation? Is it a gimmick?
Yeah, it's one of those things like when you first turn it on, you're like, oh wow, yeah, this is really cool. My screen's always on. This is great. But then after
It's
a while,
not as
it's
useful
like,
as a watch, though, because the
Yeah,
watch is always on
exactly.
your wrist. You always want to see the time.
But
On
I
a
That's it.
phone, unless it's saying that what on your desk,
the only thing,
you're staring at it
I
the whole
really
time,
liked about
right?
it was if you have like a charger with like a stand on your bedside or something, and
You always see the time, yeah.
yeah, you have a clock on at night basically. that was like the
Your
big
new
feature for me.
bedtime
Yeah,
clock, your alarm clock.
but it wasn't enough to be like, you know, this is something that, because even I mean, it's low power or whatever, but it was still, there will be some battery life hit.
yeah,
Right?
Yes.
especially
So I'm
if it
interested to see what that's like this year.
Yeah, even if it's like 5% in a day, 5-10% in a day, that can still be, you know, that's the
Yeah.
difference for your phone lasting another 2-3 hours. You know, but
This is something that Apple users have been starving for, because Android's had it for so long, and you know, there's that old saying about we're the people always say, well, we're waiting because Apple's going to do it right.
Yeah.
What do you, based on what you've heard today and what they've done differently, do you think they've done it better?
I like the widgets, but I don't really like the idea of the wallpaper being always on, that kind of stuff.
same.
Um,
And
even,
actually,
yeah.
yeah,
Would you
no,
rather
and
have
the-
it black than have like
Black, yeah, I think
ultra
it's
dim version of
it's
your
an OLED
wallpaper?
screen,
Yeah.
so you just, if you want always on, you don't want any distractions. You just want to see, I guess, notifications, your widgets,
The
whatever.
most important information.
Yeah, and then when you wake the screen, that's how I would do it. But I mean, it's good that they finally got it out there. It's an option for people who want to use it. But for me, yeah, it's
I
not
like
for
being
me.
able to see the notifications. I thought that was valuable, because I've seen always on some Android phones before, and you can see the badges, you can see the how many notifications you've missed and whatnot, but you can't always see the messages
But
actually written out
still-
for you. So that's really helpful, because if I'm eating or if I'm typing or I'm doing something,
Sure.
and I see my phone next to me, I can see the messages rolling in, see, okay, does that really need my attention right now? Do I need to pick up the phone, scan my face, and get into whatever this is?
yeah, but still, like as you said, like if you pick up your phone and scan your face, only then you can see the full message. Otherwise, you can just see the sender or even the app. So
Which is true, but you can set it to show the messages anyways, which I might consider doing, because if I have an always on display, again, I want to see what I'm dealing with before I commit to picking up a phone and,
yeah, but I think
working on whatever notifications are flying in.
yeah, my take on this is I don't really see the point, because even the iPhone, so you can just tap it. I remember having the 8 Plus like up to a year ago, and every time I wanted to wake it, I had to like press the home button or this button.
Yes.
And now you can just tap it and it will wake, or even if you take it, it will just wake. So
Well,
I think
again, and that's the thing, is starting with iOS 10 back in 2016,
probably, yeah.
you could pick up your phone, and the motion set have it always on accelerometer, and as soon as you brought it up to you, it would sense that motion and automatically wake the screen.
That
So
alone was
waking an iPhone has never been cumbersome, because you have that motion sensing or you have tap to wake. It's dead simple. So, in my opinion, it seems like I agree with you guys. It's not a game changer, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, and you never know, in a couple of years' time, once they've refined it a bit, it might be, you know,
Yeah.
maybe if they get a bit
Do
more
you think they'll come
customization.
to
that kind of stuff.
the regular models next year?
It depends if they do the
How many
refresh
do you
rate
think
thing.
they'll
'Cause I think it's dependent on that LTPD or whatever
Yeah.
it's called.
I see
So
more
if they're going to keep variable refresh rates as a pro feature, then I don't see it moving down anytime
Yeah.
soon.
I see more the dynamic island coming to the regular models next year. Just I don't know if you noticed, but the non-pro models this year have the shrink down
the
notch
smaller
from the
notch.
13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So probably
Smaller
that's
notch from last year.
yeah. And
Yeah, that makes sense then.
yeah, but I don't know, and I don't see the point of like making all these complications in iOS 16 and everything if you're gonna show the whole screen. I don't know. I would just like to have an option to show the time and
on the iPhone,
complications.
I keep it pretty simple. I'm not even on this screen. I'm not even using complications. It's just the time.
Yeah.
So I like to keep it simple. You don't want too many things vying for your attention, and that's what I like about Apple, is they do focus on ambient computing. That information's ready for you when you need it. Always on displays, things the notifications that aren't obtrusive, things like that. Not only is it intuitive, but it doesn't disrupt my current work or my current experience so much that I'm constantly responding to things that are vying for my attention. Like the notification summary that they introduced last year for iOS 15 that condenses everything. So when you wake up in the morning, you're not bombarded by banners.
Yeah.
You have almost your own curated magazine for everything that's rolling in.
Yeah, that's something I haven't
notifications.
really gone into setting for myself because I just see notifications when they come. Honestly, probably I should start looking into that. But
And
yeah, I just
that's
saw
a
it.
digital wellness feature.
I know, and I've actually been concerned about that lately since I saw a tweet that's like, yeah, it has a lot of effects in your day to day, and I'm trying to improve in that aspect, so it might be something worth considering. But I just find it like
And I have to tell you, and David, you're going to think this is interesting. Once I really committed to focus modes and do not disturb, things like that, really customizing the notifications using screen time, I turned off battery percentage when I did that, and it felt like I had a phone with longer battery life. So
yeah, I see.
this changes your whole perspective on things, because when you're using your phone only when you really need it, and you're not constantly always on it scrolling, the phone becomes a part of your life experience and not something that consumes your life. And I think that I love that Apple prioritizes that, because as amazing as their products are, they don't want you to be on them 24/7, and they want you to be conscious of your digital wellness and your physical health as well. And that bleeds into the democratization of health that they're doing with the Apple Watch. And preventative care is huge for preventative care. We saw that segment in the beginning about just a number of lives that have been saved by Apple Watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I might ask you for some advice on how to set up that thing, but I see it like the Apple Watch sleep tracking. I used to do sleep tracking on the Apple Watch before Apple natively supported it, because I had this app that was like super simple, but it automatically detected when I went to sleep and when I woke up. And now I see it so cumbersome, because it's like, yeah, it's there, but it's just so much extra work that I just don't think it's worth it.
Well, and the built-in Apple sleep tracking wants you to be regimented, right? It wants you to set a bedtime, and it helps you. It's supposed to help you wind down by a certain time.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure you understand. I work from home, so I work all hours of the day. I don't want my phone to start giving up before I'm ready to give up, right? I don't need a feature called wind down. I want my phone to be ready for me. I can limit notifications and control the experience in that way, so that I'm not on it all the time. But I don't like the idea of notifications rolling in all day long and being bombarded by them and just things vying for your attention. You have to manage your time efficiently, or else all you'll be doing is doom scrolling all day.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, working from home also, that's an important aspect of not getting so distracted. But yeah, again, we'll see how it goes and how if people start using it and stuff. Because even because we're every day like looking into this tech, like we breathe and live tech basically, and we're like we knew about the.
I bleed 6 colors.
Yeah,
you can imagine how difficult a blood transfusion is. I had to go straight to Apple Park.
But yeah, so we've known about this always on display for the longest time and everything, but the regular user that buys this iPhone 14 Pro because they say like, oh, I can afford it, so I'll just shell the money, and doesn't really barely probably even knows the features that it has. I wonder how that kind of people will feel about the always on display. If they'll think like, oh, that's so cool, or they'll think like, this is just draining my battery just so my phone is visible when I don't want to see it. So
I think even if it has the same exact battery as the last generation, people are already going to be thinking it's draining my battery in the background.
Because it is like, if it has the exact same battery than the last generation and you turn it off, then you'll have more battery.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm bringing this up, because the efficiency of the chip plays a factor in that.
Yeah.
So they could be designing the chip just enough to correct or offset, whatever word you want to use, to ensure that it has the same battery life as that's what they said on stage. That it had the same industry-leading battery life as last year's phone. So it's probably something that if you weren't conscious of the display always being on, you wouldn't think about how much it's draining your battery. But because you know it's on, you think it's draining your battery when it really isn't.
Yeah. But
Not
still,
that it isn't. It's just it's been designed in a way to offset it. So you can go in a circle.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to articulate. But it's the main thing here is the efficiency of the chip and how much that plays a factor in correcting the inherent energy consumption by having your screen on all the time.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe that has to play a role. But for example, with the Series 5, a friend of mine has it, and he turned down the always on display, and the battery lasts more than they announced in the keynote just because he has it off.
Yeah.
And it's like obviously not draining the battery.
The first thing a lot of users are going to do is turn it off and say, I don't need that. It's a gimmick, right? And, we saw with the Apple Watch, people did that, and their battery life, they gained only 5 to 10% better battery life. So whether or not that's notable to you, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what the tests reveal, whether it's worth it to use always on display.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. And
or AOD, as the kids are calling it.
And one more thing I wanted to tell you.
Yeah, there's one more thing.
Actually, not that crazy. But yeah, so ever since they first mentioned the 48 megapixel camera, I was waiting to hear 8K video, and they never did mention it. And I'm so surprised they didn't, honestly, because yeah, I don't know.
8K is hard because the industry standard is 4K at 24, and on that topic, they brought 4K 24 FPS to cinematic mode this year.
Actually, 30, yeah.
It's a huge feature for people that are using the phone to capture video professionally. They're sticking with 4K because most of the content's in 4K, and most of the time, in these tests, I've seen a countless number of tests where people see video shot in 4K, the same video shot in 4K and the same video in 8K, and they cannot tell the difference. And it's because 4K for most screens hits that threshold, similar to a Retina display, right? Where if you're standing a certain distance away from a screen, you can't distinguish individual pixels. And for most people, that's enough. That's why we haven't seen a pixel density increase on the Apple Watch since its inception, because it's far away enough that we don't distinguish pixels, and therefore it looks like a printed page. Therefore, it looks like the best display you've ever seen. From that point, you worry about things like contrast and brightness and color accuracy, and that's where they're still making strides.
I think one of the other things about 8K video, though, is the storage.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also
because I think one thing I noticed is that this year they still start at 128 gig.
They do.
Really? They still start at 128?
Yeah, even on the Pro. And I don't know if you remember last year, I can't remember which feature it was. I think it might be one of the cinematic mode things, but one of them...
Yes, it was
ProRes
cinematic mode.
ProRes
was exclusive to the 256.
Yeah, so you could use it on... So I got a 13 Pro Max, you can use it on... but only at 1080p, I think. You couldn't use it in 4K on the 128 gig one. So my thing would probably be that if they went to 8K, they'd probably have to limit it to...
Yeah.
At least the 256, if not the 512.
Because you'd fill up the phone, and that bleeds into the whole discussion about ProRAW.
Yeah.
And being able to capture ProRAW photos at 48 megapixels. I think, personally, they should have made that jump this year to 256.
I was surprised they didn't.
Everybody was really surprised.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they had, we might have ended up with those prices that were leaked earlier, where the Pro Max would start at $1,200. So in a way, I'm kind of glad they didn't. Kind of glad,
Yeah, I was very, very surprised because I have a big argument with some friends a couple of weeks ago about the iPhone pricing and how it stayed the same since the iPhone 11 and basically even earlier. Because they added bigger tires, but basically, kind of comparable things always stayed kind of the same. And I was very, very
Mm-hmm.
surprised and pleased to see that all the models, well, except the Max, of course, are staying at the same price, or at least the starting price. So
Is it me, or is this a weird year for colors on the Pro models? What do you guys think about deep purple? That's the name of the color.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, yeah, space black. That's where it's at.
yeah,
You have to.
Me
You have to
too.
yeah.
Me
Space
too.
black is
And
the color.
it's interesting because we're getting that deeper black again, right?
Yeah.
Or they've done away with the graphite color, and we've brought in space black here.
Yeah, because I mean, my one is graphite, and sometimes if I take my case off to give it a clean or something, I look at it and I actually forget what color I've chosen because I'm looking at it and this doesn't seem like what I in my head it should be much darker than it actually is. So it's nice to see space black. I think that's
yeah. But looking at the pictures, of course, we'll have to see them in person.
Yeah,
but
sure,
it looks
definitely.
just exactly the same as the graphite. Very, very, very similar.
It says Apple quietly updated Apple Care. It says alongside the iPhone 14 and 14 Pro announcement, Apple updated Apple Care Plus. So this is the premium version, including support for unlimited repairs, up from 2 repairs a year. Apple says that Apple Care Plus for iPhone includes unlimited incidents of accidental damage protection. That's an interesting change.
Yeah.
So that's a whole new. That makes Apple Care Plus more worth it in my eyes.
Well, how often do you break your phone?
Not often, but if I did, see, they're getting me.
Yeah, that's probably have to see. Like, I saw this video from Linus Tech Tips about the iPhone repair program that they announced, and their take on it was basically saying like, yeah, Apple is trying to give users this option just to comply with the rules and stuff, but they don't really want you to do it. So that's why they're making it so hard. And that thing that you mentioned is probably another reason not to do it. Like, yeah, just send it to us, we'll give you a new one, and you don't have to bother. And it's, yeah, even gonna be cheaper in this case. So yeah.
So with that pill mechanism, the dynamic island, still getting used to saying that. The True Depth camera system is 31% smaller. That features a re-engineered proximity sensor that they've tucked beneath the display. That's how they were able to make it so much smaller. It says the advanced display algorithms, that's a mouthful, right? Make Dynamic Island responsible wherever you tap, swipe, or hold.
Wait, can you repeat that?
It's basically lots of mumbo jumbo about how the Dynamic Island is very responsive for tapping, swiping, and holding.
Yeah.
That's good.
What's interesting is, and we saw this in the early leaks, is this mechanism is actually 2 parts, right? It's the camera lens hole punch, as the industry calls it. We've adopted that. And then the pill cutout for the sensor array that's still there. But because OLED pixels can actually be turned off, this looks like one cohesive, large, elongated pill at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
So you're actually connecting 2 mechanisms to make it look like one large bar. And that's how they can make it look like UI elements are popping in and out of it.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's part of the screen.
And probably even if you, when tapping and stuff, you have to, or it will work better if you tap on that part that is actually screen. So not like the camera
on the center or on the sides, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm checking 9to5Mac to see a couple of things, and one kind of ties with what we spoke before about the Apple Satellite subscription, and it's that Verizon offers new One Unlimited plan for iPhone, including all Apple One services. So probably in the future, it would also include the Apple Satellite service or whatever it's called.
Well, on that note, and while we're reading these things, if you caught this during the presentation, it says Apple has killed the SIM card, so their new phones are eSIM only in the U.S. and the United
Yep.
States. So that's an interesting development. It's easier if you're upgrading to transfer a plan. It's easier than ever, and they said that you don't even need to have a Wi-Fi connection to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, they say it's easier, but I mean, it's still some sort of setup as opposed to just putting the SIM card in.
But with iOS 16, actually, you can
What's interesting,
also transfer the eSIM to a new iPhone
Yeah.
when you set it up.
I love the little tidbits we got, software tidbits that maybe weren't ready for some screen time at WWDC, like Apple Fitness Plus, that no longer requiring an Apple Watch. You can use it just with an iPhone standalone. I thought that was really cool. I know some people that really want to get into the service and use the time to walk feature and things like that can do that now on a standalone on an iPhone, and that goes hand in hand with the features we saw earlier this year, like being able to use the Move Ring for activity tracking on just the iPhone standalone,
Yep.
no Apple Watch required.
Yeah, which makes you think all these years that they didn't and they could. They were just wanting you to get an Apple Watch, basically.
I love that the get an Apple Watch or die marketing is still alive and kicking.
But yeah, like the reasons to get an Apple Watch are getting less and less, because what you mentioned, and also the crash detection that's also available on the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically making it so Apple Watch is only for people that actually exercise. If you want for the day-to-day stuff and even some of the life-saving features, well, don't even need the quotes, life-saving features. They're supported by the iPhone, so that's really good. Also, Bluetooth 5.3. I didn't even know that was
Same.
out.
I was just looking at the spec sheet. There's a few interesting things on there. There's that.
Go ahead.
Did the iPhones grab Wi-Fi 6E support? I wasn't able to check that.
No.
And if you can send me the link so I can put it on the screen, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to compare them to the previous ones.
Yeah, it does not mention Wi-Fi 6E, so no cutting edge
Yeah.
Wi-Fi technology there. It doesn't even say Wi-Fi 6 anymore on the spec sheet. It just says Wi-Fi. So that's interesting. We're not allowed to know anymore.
The things that I noticed that were interesting was some in the camera. So the old Pro cameras were f1.5, the aperture. The new ones are f1.78. So there's
And 100% focus pixels across the board, right?
yeah. So they've gone in terms of aperture, they've gone backwards in a way. And,
That is true.
same for the ultra wide as well. It's gone from f1.8 to f2.2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the telephotos are both the same. f2.8, but that was kind of interesting. I don't remember them mentioning that. I remember them saying about the regular phone going to f1.5. So I'd imagine
it's on the main shooter. There's a new sensor shift, OIS, optical image stabilization too. That's something that they didn't touch on, and maybe that goes hand in hand with the new action mode that we actually haven't talked about yet.
Yep.
Where you can, it's an advanced image stabilization setting that will correct for motion, so you can video record and capture photos without images getting blurry while you're running or biking or on a bumpy road, which I thought that's going to be extremely useful, because I'm always looking for that buttery smooth footage.
Yeah.
Because you have an iPhone in your pocket and you're like, well, if I just had a gimbal right now, I could capture something really cinematic, but it still looks like it's coming from a phone if it's not smooth, if it doesn't have that image stabilization. So I'm glad they have an extreme, or should I say ultra version of that this year.
Have you ever tried Filmic Pro? Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So on there they have a extreme stabilization mode. And I've tried that. That is ridiculous how stable it gets. The negative of their
That's
one
available
is
on older phones.
Yeah. So their downside is that
I should look into.
It's the picture's delayed then, so what you see when you're holding the phone isn't live. But
that's confusing.
So I'm assuming the new power A16 allows us to see that in real time.
maybe Apple have basically done the same thing, but I'm hoping that they're actually able to do it, as a proper viewfinder.
And is
but yeah, if you check that out, honestly, it's crazy how stable it is. So I'd imagine Apple's one is going to be up there with that and easier to use.
Yeah, and is it so what I'm guessing is happening here, so in case you or the viewers didn't know, 4K is basically 12 megapixels. So if we
Yeah.
have 48 now, it's just scanning the whole sensor and saying, okay, which part of the image do I need to choose to make it consistent?
Yeah.
So for the Filmic Pro app, does it do that in 4K or is it limited to 1080 or something like that?
No, it's 4K as well, yeah.
Okay. So that's
So I don't know how it's
Yeah.
doing it, but it's impressive.
We were talking about battery a little bit earlier. If you look at the fine print, you compare both models side by side. iPhone 14 Pro Max, you gain an extra hour, 29 videos of video playback, 29 hours of video playback on iPhone 14 Pro Max, and only 28 hours of video playback on iPhone 13 Pro. So it is better. It is better battery life, but I wonder why they didn't tout that on stage.
Yeah, and it's even 3 more than the iPhone 14 Plus, and they kept saying while they were introducing it, like, it's the best battery of any iPhone. It's so great. And this one's even better, and they didn't even mention.
And while outdoors, iPhone can now reach 2,000 nits for peak brightness,
but
which
that
matches that of Apple Watch Ultra, which it will be amazing in direct sunlight.
But I think that's only for when you're viewing HDR content. I don't think that's for regular usage.
Usually they put the asterisk on there, and I don't see it this time.
Okay.
Because I'm looking directly at the specs. It said it's still locked at 1600 for HDR, and then it says outdoor 2000 nits.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually separate from HDR content. It can reach peak brightness of 2000, which just that translates to improved legibility for on-screen elements in direct sunlight, which is incredibly helpful.
Yeah, but then you'll have the problem that I usually have, like the times that I most need to check the screen is because it's very sunny, and if it's very sunny, I'm likely at the beach, and at the beach I've been a long time, and the iPhone is so hot that it won't even show the full brightness. So
and then
kind
they
of defeats the
actually
purpose.
mentioned that on stage. It said, I'm waiting to see the teardown that iFixit is going to do, but they said it features an entirely new thermal design to prevent thermal throttling. So, and then they touted that you can play video games, graphics-intensive video games, for even longer than before without hitting a performance ceiling. So we'll have to see internally what they changed, what that actually means.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't hear that part.
An all-new thermal design.
Well, the all new thermal design is only 2 grams heavier than the previous one, if that's even the thermal design.
Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe the battery got a little bit bigger. We'll have to look in the fine print and see the
No clue.
the teardown.
And it's interesting they didn't do a new version of Smart HDR, because I guess they have the Photonic engine. But yeah, I think ever since it was introduced,
as well.
yeah,
Deep
the Fusion was a huge deal.
Now captures more ahead of time before you take the photo. That way you can grab more data.
And it also does the corrections on the raw photo. So I guess it takes the raw photo, then processes it, and gives you the HEIF or JPEG or whatever. But it does the changes and the optimizations in the raw photo instead of the compressed one, which is great.
Well, I want to thank you both for letting me join you guys. I'm going to have to head out now, but thank you so much.
I think we can actually wrap up here because I'm starving.
Sure.
And
That's good. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was very fun. Thank you to everyone that joined at some point or any point. Hope we were helpful and hope we kept you entertained. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. And if you want to do this for future events, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Let's see if we have another event in October for Max or whatever.
Yes.
But
and if you guys want to follow me, you guys can head over to Twitter or Instagram. That's @tech and then RNDR, Tech Render.
Yeah.
It's on Instagram and Twitter. And you can follow me for some Apple-focused tech updates and news.
And at Emptynet.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Cool. So
be sure to follow them. And thank you both for joining. And thank you everyone who joined at some point during the live stream. that's my light that just died, so it's the perfect time to leave. But yeah, again, thank you very much, and that's gonna be it for today. We'll see you soon.